Awesome. All right. So we're gonna go over some announcement in a bit, and then we'll go straight to like the mid-sprint showcase. So here's the some information about our demo day. First of all, it's going to be hosted at the Sequel Center of Design on August 29th, right? And that's basically a week after school starts. Well, the Sunday of the first week of school. And here is what's going to happen for the first part. We're going to have like a info session, and then right afterwards, we're going to have like a short session for the demo day kickoff, and then that's when you guys come in and then start pitching. And then in between, after just an intermission, we will have all of our venture consultants and also our OVDs and alums to pitch their startups as well. And our judges are gonna make decisions and pick the top pitches, and will be rewarded. And at the end, we're gonna have like a short networking session. So the people that we are inviting to this session is gonna be for example, some of the directors of our accelerators on campus, TC directors, and also our mentors, advisors, and all of them. So you guys will have a good chance to actually get to know more about people on campus. Yeah, and later on, here's the deliverables by demo day, basically. So this is what kind of the expectations is about. So first of all, having a clear problem statement launched with your target user. And so you have to have a clear understanding after your market research, right? Solid value proposition, basically what's your clear solution, how that differs from other competitors. And then at least 20 customer discovery market research interviews. I mean, most of you guys have already done like 5 or 10 interviews, right? So you guys can continue to do more market research and these interviews, and it's going to be very helpful for you guys to build the MVP. Right? And then the most important thing is your pitch deck. That's expected to be 5 minutes long. Since we have to control the time pretty closely, right? So you will have exactly 5 minutes, and so you guys can rehearse it, practice it. And last thing is that MVP launched on target user, and this is very different for everyone, right? So what kind of MVP is it? What do you define as like an MVP? It all depends on what you guys discuss with your venture consultants. All right, and then for the rest of the summer, this is what's going to happen. So first of all, next week we're going to have like a co-working hours, and you guys will be talking to your venture consultants again. And then the week after that one, we're going to have like a short session for you guys to practice pitching, and then showing your pitch deck. And that's kind of like our mock demo day for everyone, and that's also the initial screening for a demo day as well. So if we think that you guys are ready, then you guys can pitch at the demo day. And otherwise, like you guys may have to like prepare a bit more later on. And so yeah, then later on it's like the actual demo day. And this means we are only 28 days, so around 4 weeks away from the actual demo day. Yeah, so pretty soon. All right, next step, we're gonna have like 2 breakout rooms. Since so some of our venture consultants can be here, we will probably just like record the session in this single room actually. And then so everyone can pitch their startup and then present your intro, your problem, your solution, and also what you did with your market research within 5 minutes. All right. And at the end, we are going to have like a Q&A all together. Okay. Sounds good. All right, Pierre, is there anything else I should add, or anything else you missed? Okay, he's probably okay, he's on a flight right now. All right, so how about this? Who's ready to pitch? This is recorded, so the VCs can give feedback to you guys afterwards. So who's ready? Any volunteers? We're done?
Yeah, sure, I'm ready.
Oh, Ayo? Okay, sure. You can share a screen if you want.
Okay. Use
All right. And then when it's close to when it's last 30 seconds, I will type it in the chat so that you will know.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Works. Yep. You can start whenever you want, and I'll start the timer.
Yeah. All right. So oops, sorry, this isn't moving. Okay. Yeah. All right. So my project doesn't have a name yet. I'm still sort of holding back on the name, but I just call it the Elderly Project, and that's like the name I call it by. The whole aim of this project is to support elderly people to maximize the rest of their years on earthly meaningfully. And elderly people in this case refers to people around 60 to 65 years and above. So what is the problem? The problem revolves around the fact that elderly people are prone to a lot of problems, which include poor drug adherence, poor self-care, like they don't take care of themselves. There's a chance that they might neglect themselves in different ways for different reasons. And then they also have challenges around the isolation because of the kind of living culture that exists, for example, here in the US, for example, and then the fact that they're sort of different from the general generation. They can't move around, their mobility is limited, they are retired. So they have problems with isolation. And then they also have barriers to emergency care, which are sort of occasioned by this isolation, because for different reasons, they find it difficult to access emergency care. 27% of the elderly in the US live alone. There are over 35 million elderly people in the US presently, and in the next 10 years, that number might grow to about 70 million. So that will be one of the largest demographics in the US in the next 10 to 15 years. So this would create a lot more of this. And a lot of these elderly people these days do not want to go into care homes and communal living. They prefer to live in their own houses. So the percentage of elderly people that would live alone in the coming years is going to grow. And research has shown that elderly people who are lonely, especially the ones who live alone, live 5 years less than those who do not. So, and this happens for different reasons, which I've mentioned before. They don't manage themselves as well as people live with other people who have some sort of support. The support really goes a long way in helping them live longer. So what's the solution? What we're trying to build is a simple to use affordable and adaptive tool to help manage these problems. Um, so presently, I'm still doing market research, and I'm talking to three groups of people who are the elderly people themselves, caregivers. That these are people who sort of take care of elderly people, either as professionals or as family members, and then other stakeholders in this sector who would be practitioners, organizations, and academics in this area. So sorry, that's wrong. I mean, I've had five caregivers rather, who sort of the common themes that sort of emerged around the five people I've spoken to over the past 3 to 4 weeks is the fact that they have problems with socialization, they have problems with connection, and then they have challenges around being able to communicate with people, their family members, their friends, and also making new friends. I mean, because elderly people, they're sort of their network sort of seems to whittle down the older they grow. They also have problems with care management, especially ones who have chronic disease. A large percentage, almost all elderly people, have some sort of chronic disease they are sort of taking care of the other, and this sort of affects their quality of life, which sort of is a problem because by the time they grow older, they have problems caring for themselves and managing their care. They also have problem with finance because, for example, some of these elderly people can't do a lot of things themselves. So sometimes the caregivers exploit them because of the present limitations they have on how to manage their money. What some of the oh, sorry, totally skipped this slide. I don't know how that happened. So let me just finish this. So what some of the caregivers sort of mentioned was the fact that A possible solution might be a simple, easy to use device with basic controls, and they can use to sort of mitigate these challenges, manage their care, socialize, connect, communicate, and to an extent, manage their finances. And this device should be something that does not put a lot of stress or pressure on them, because elderly people, once something starts to give them a lot of stress or pressure, they're sort of going to abandon it. I mistakenly skipped this slide, so I'm going to go back. I've interviewed 5 elderly people so far, and the common theme is the fact that they all presently stay in touch with others, friends, families, acquaintances, by visiting them or calling them on their phones. They manage loneliness by watching TV, listening to the radio, or spending time with people in the neighborhoods. Very few of them actually have some sort of communal neighborhood where they live, and they said they'll be open to use an easy tool that's designed to help them sort of mitigate these issues, where they connect, communicate, and make friends. I also spoke with stakeholders. I spoke with 4 experts and academics, so I highlighted the fact that the significance of having connections and being able to do that in a simple and easy way, especially for people who stay at home alone, unlike people who live in communal care. They're lucky to have sort of other elderly people in that community. Then there's a need to increase access to community services and activities through these tools. So, for example, elderly people at times want to order takeout, but they can't use Uber Eats. They don't know how to navigate Uber Eats. A whole lot of them do not even have devices to access Uber Eats, for example. They could call in, but for some type of places, it's difficult to call in because all the orders are done online. Also, the other thing is about using the body of technology for communication and making it easier to connect to people they already know. So if I already know someone and they are somewhere else, how do I stay in touch with them? People they already know include their family members and every other person in that area. And one thing that was mentioned was the fact that voice-activated technology will be very helpful, because elderly people have limited mobility, limited functionality. So they can't type like the way a lot of us would type. They can't.
Wait,
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there, but the time's up. So, is there anything last few?
Yeah, this is the last slide. The last slide talks about the plan for MVP. So the plan for MVP goes in 2 ways, which is an art tech, basically to use an existing products that can be easily modified and tweaked for the purpose, and then software to design a UI interface that can be tested and iterated with the elderly. That's everything.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'll write down some feedback for that, and yeah, I guess like the VCs, they'll probably also send feedback later on as well. All right, who want to be next? Any volunteers? Anit?
Yeah, Sahil. I was just gonna say, Sahil, do you want to go?
Yeah, we can go.
Yeah. All right. Sahil, do you want to share the screen?
Yeah. Okay. So wait, like. Okay. Shit. Okay. There it is. Yeah. Here, I forgot actually. So like, how do you actually get? Okay, never mind. Up there it is.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just begin. So Sneha and I are working on Digidoo, and we identified that international business and scientific exchange have brought the world closer together, and it's brought different cultures and people together. And we identified that there is a great need for smooth and seamless communication between people of different culture and different regional backgrounds. So we as a society have already tackled the big problem of communication. We've developed a lot of different ways of learning new languages. But the big problem, the big barrier that stops us from having seamless, smooth communication is pronunciation. And that's what we aim to solve at Digidoo. We aim to provide our users with feedback on differences in their speech using speech error technology powered by neural network technology. And at this point, we in the future, in fact, we also plan on helping our users visualize differences in speech, so providing them diagrams or animations, but that's a sort of a long-term idea. Right now, our MVP is focusing essentially on helping our users uh, analyze and identify differences in their speech. Um, and Snehal, do you want to add on to our market research and how we're
Yep. I
doing
think I have
right
to go
now?
talk about this part too.
Yeah.
So for us, a market analysis. So like after I have to talk into it, so we also talked to a Kiran committee, and then and also through our interviews too. So we actually figured out that so I think it might be the best for us to first target B2C just to perfect our technology, and then later once we actually have our technology, then we can target B2B for making revenue and also gaining traction. So unfortunately, at this point, we still do not have an idea of our early adopter. But I mean, we did have some indications. So say for example, we actually found that the people learning other languages tend to be more receptive, than those learning English, because for them, I think if it's for English, native English speakers are more used to people speaking English with a different accent. While say if it's more people speaking other languages, it might sound more strange to them if people were to speak it in a different accent. And and so for B2C, so far we did interview international students and immigrants to come up diverse backgrounds. And we still do find that they still do not really fit our idea for early adopters. Although this does seem to vary by region or by profession or area of interest. For example, we did find that those who are studying business are slightly more receptive than those studying engineering, or that those from or say within the international students, those from East Asian countries do tend to be a bit more receptive than those from other regions. And now, so we're also trying to explore the B2B route too. So I did also, interview two call center directors or say people who work with call centers. So the other person said that yes, so when it comes to understanding, foreign accents, it was actually more of a problem. But then I did talk to a second one too, and they said it wasn't. But I think the other difference was that one actually was one company was Uber, they had offshore call centers, while the other one was also which had only onshore call centers. So we actually believe that it might also differ by the company. So we still gotta try to figure out which companies have onshore call centers and which ones have offshore call centers. So that's our next task. And for marketing, so we still need to do some much more work too. So on the B2B side, we do plan on interviewing language instructors as for B2B and also for B2C. We also plan on continuing trying to interview more groups of people. For example, maybe those that not at UFI for international students or for immigrants. We also plan to interview those who working other professions. And also lots of people trying to language learners, more people in that demographic. So for a proof of concept, so rather than actually making an MVP, we more plan on making a proof of concept to be able to demonstrate our a core technology. So our idea is to just maybe have a user mispronounce a consonant by saying another consonant in place and see if the app could detect what the user is saying instead. So say for example, we can just take two simple sounds. Suppose the user needs to pronounce the P sound, but then the person says the B sound instead. We're actually hoping that the app could actually be oh yeah, you actually saying the B sound, not the P sound, and then give feedback to the user that way. Yep, and that's all I got to share for the proof of concept. So on it, do you also have anything to add?
I'm going to add some stuff for the previous slide in terms of
Yeah,
market
yeah.
research. I think so. On the third point, I want to add on that we found that, as Snail said, that people are more receptive to mastering pronunciation for different languages besides English. And we've interviewed international students in a lot of places. We've interviewed international students from Canada, from the Netherlands, one from Denmark even. And what we find is that the more localized language is, the more people want to learn pronunciation for the language. And we've identified that English, being a very global language, being spoken in several different countries, has several different accents and dialects, and that makes it hard. That makes it more like that makes it less likely that people would want to learn pronunciation for. But as of now, we're continuing to work on English just because it's easier to demonstrate our technology on, and it's easier to launch it, work with it for now. But in the future, I think we're definitely going to go for some of the other languages and see how much success we can get with that.
Yep,
Yeah,
that is
that's it.
correct.
Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, I also wrote down some like feedback for you guys. Some
Okay, thank you.
points later on. Yeah, and yeah, I'll send this all in the chat later on. But okay, how about the next person? Who want to go next? Oh,
Yeah, I can go next.
okay, that's good.
You see my screen? Oh, is my screen visible? Okay. Yeah. So here's my pitch. At the University of Illinois, agricultural technology is at the heart. We've been innovating for agriculture for years, like EarthSense, these robots, and drones, water technology. All this innovation is at the heart of our university. And farmers in Illinois are increasingly using this technology. However, using more drones, using more robots, it's all pushing power consumption up and up. And we already have these huge silos. Now John Deere is making electric tractors. They have technology for animals. Our consumption is just going up and up. And in fact, our cost per unit is also just increasing. Now, if your demand is going up, your costs are going up, and you're at the end of the grid, receiving the worst quality of electricity possible. That's where we come in. Farmers with ever-growing electricity demand. Deal aims to build extremely low-cost flywheel batteries. Let me explain. What's the problem we're trying to solve? Basically, it's simple. Farmers are at the end of the grid and receive the worst possible electricity. It's the most expensive per unit and it's the worst quality. So nowadays, with solar panels and batteries getting cheaper and cheaper, more and more farmers are turning to microgrids. It's a simple setup like this. It's solar, it's power stations. What we're going to do is take that power station part and make it way better. Sorry about that. Wheel will use flywheels, the most primitive technology, to store energy in the kinetic form. And I think the best way to show you how that works is to show you how our MVP will look like. It's as simple as that. It's a metal disc rotating on some really low friction bearings. And you have a motor/generator which will convert it into electricity. Yeah, so quick update on how I'm planning the MVP. Basically, the entire product consists of 5 parts: the flywheel, the motor, the clutch, case, and bearings. And I hope to use ECE, Open Labs, and other resources on campus to make this into a product, a very simple and demonstratable MVP. I can maybe use car parts because you have flywheels and clutches and bearings in cars. And in fact, you can actually use this in the end product to considerably lower down costs. And hopefully 9 to 11 weeks, I can have a pretty decent MVP in my hand. And one step ahead of that, I plan on using SBIR contracts to get access to national labs to actually make the end MVP or the end product. Why now? Well, with increasing climate calamities and more power outages, everyone across the US and the world are increasingly turning to microgrids. This is something the Department of Energy supports, not only microgrids, but improving the grid. And that's why they invested $10 billion in just 70 national labs to improve energy storage and other software, and they're more and more looking at improving energy storage solutions. In our home state of Illinois, the solar industry in just 1 year invested $604 million, and now with the Coal to Solar Act, they're planning 175 megawatt energy storage. Let's quickly look at the market size. The global energy storage market right now is 800 gigawatts. To put that in context, that's like 800 billion iPhone batteries. And just the next 10 years, this number is supposed to grow 5 times. That's some proper exponential growth. What is the market we're looking at? Well, we're looking at energy storage in Illinois, which is still a small amount at 5.2 megawatt hour. But with the new Coal to Solar Act, we're looking at some really considerable increase, like they're planning 175 megawatt hour installations. And we want to target the very heart and soul of UFI innovation, that is agri innovation and go for farmers. So our SOM is looking at to be around 104 kilowatt hour. Market research. So I conducted over the past few weeks about 27, 28 interviews. And very broadly, I found two main issues people complained about: cost and accuracy. About cost, people indirectly and directly complained about cost by saying that they have secondary, like installation is very expensive, or moving it is very expensive, or like one guy, he bought batteries for 5,000 and his inverter was 9,000. And that's when I realized the actual battery only contributes to 30% of the overall cost. And if you go for a cheaper battery, you have limited lifespan. And you just have to buy the battery all over again in a few years. Accuracy wise, you can't just cut open a battery and see how much juice is inside or how long it's going to last. They're all just predictions and they're never 100% accurate. That's where a unique value proposition comes in. We've completely eliminated the need for inverters, and our sensors are going to be extremely low cost, significantly cutting down our costs. And flywheels as a technology are known to have huge lifespans. That's why you don't even need to measure battery health. And just by measuring the speed, you can get 100% accurate battery juice measurement. Now, right now you have like players like Tesla with the Powerwall and LG, who are pretty competitive pricing wise and pretty accurate. And then you've got newer players getting portable batteries like EcoFlow, which is slightly more expensive and with the same amount of accuracy.
Sorry to put you off there, but we got time's up. So I do have like a last few things to mention for your site.
I'm just going to, yeah, that's it.
Okay, sounds good. And all right, then so I will also send the follow-ups for feedback later on as well. And then, all right, thank you. The last person is Ayush.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So my project is about agricultural census, which is part of a precision agriculture thing. I don't have an official name for it. But as for the introduction, the demand for food will inevitably rise to double the amount which by 2050. And with the current methods of expansion in agriculture, we would be unable to keep up. And there would also be very negative consequences if we take the current ways of expansion in agriculture. There would be air and water pollution, climate change, deforestation, and threats to biodiversity, and increased competition for land and resources. So we need to incorporate cutting edge technology in agriculture to be able to transition to a world where there would be double the amount of food required. I believe precision agriculture would take us there. Currently, digital technologies have not been implemented well enough in agriculture. It's more of a traditional industry. But I believe we can use the Internet of Things approach with sensors and actuators to apply variable rate technology, which is a fancy way of saying applying fertilizers and pesticides and organic manure in only the places where it is required. So the basic premise of my project would be to improve the profitability of farmers, improve the yield, improve food quality, improve social equality, and reduce environmental footprints. So the market research findings, when I talk with farmers, I talk with like 30 or 35 farmers, and all of them had one thing in common. They all wanted to improve the efficiency with which they use uh, pesticides and fertilizers and these other supplements, because they bought a lot of them and they use almost all of it, even the amount which is not necessary. And in fact, if you apply more fertilizers than required, it actually ends up decreasing yield. And they wanted a way to know exactly how much fertilizer they would need for a field. And that was the major thing which was common in all of them. And I talked with some researchers and professors of digital agriculture at UIUC, and they suggested to me that the project should be all about an economically feasible ensemble of sensors and create an off-the-shelf product which farmers can use directly. Because currently, when farmers need to like apply precision agriculture techniques in their farms, they usually go to some consultancy firm and they look at their field, look at their crops, and based on that, provide them with sensors. But we would need universal sensors which would be applicable in all the fields. And another thing would be the system should be wireless. There should be wireless sensors and they should be edge computing, because not all farms have internet connectivity and we can't transfer the data to the cloud. So we would need to have edge computing so the data can be analyzed in the field itself and the insights can go directly to the farmers or to the actuators. Yeah, so the problem statement, the basic problems which the industry is facing right now is that, which precision agriculture facing is that it's too expensive. The sensors are too expensive and they are not universal, as I said. Not all farmers use the same sensors. It is based on the kind of crops they are growing or their own geographies. And the sensors which are currently used are almost always electromagnetic sensors, which only measures things like the soil texture, salinity, and other macro variables, and not the soil chemical composition. And there are electrochemical sensors for that, which I would be using. So the three problems which the industry is facing right now is they are expensive, they are not universal, and they are limited in scope of what they can measure. My proposed solution is all about focusing on fertilizer and manure application, not pesticides, just how we can get to know the soil's chemical composition. The main things which we need to know about the soil is the potassium, calcium, magnesium, and these other things, these technical things which I've written. So the things which I've narrowed down to, the kind of sensors you would need are electrochemical sensors, mechanical, and acoustic sensors. Three of these sensors in one node could be used in the field, and there could be multiple such nodes, which would also have GPS positioning system. We can spread these nodes all around the field, and we can create a kind of a map with which can give us the chemical composition of the whole field and kind of give a whole view to the farmer as well. And then we can use that data and that analysis to help farmers apply fertilizer and manure in the most efficient way possible. And yeah, all these nodes would be transferring data to the central node, which would actually be the edge computing device. And it has become possible only recently to have such edge computing devices, which would have sophisticated machine learning algorithms running on a microprocessor. Previously, it was not possible, but today it is. So yeah, minimum viable product at demo day seems to be a concrete plan for creating a sensor system, along with the economic, the associated costs, and the technological challenges which we would be facing, and the things we need to address technically, and all the requirements and constraints of the project. I requested research space at the Illinois Autonomous Farm and the Distributed Autonomous Systems Lab. And they have reached back to me and they have told me they can provide me with the space. They can look more into the project, but they can provide me space only in the fall semester, not before that. So I believe I can work on this project and in the fall semester, and I would have minimum viable product, working sensor prototype, probably by December, if I work throughout the fall semester. Yeah, this is some of the research papers which I referred to. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. All right. Sounds good. All right. I guess since I think most of our venture consultants couldn't come, right? I will send this like recorded video to everyone, and then they'll be able to watch it later on, right? And then yeah, thank you all for preparing for this again. By the way, I think since the demo day is within like 28 days, 29 days, and basically it's also going to be one of our biggest events in the fall as well. And so hopefully the feedback they gave, hopefully that will be a good kind of help to you guys to be prepared for the demo day as well. And I heard that most of you guys already done actually more than 20 interviews, which is that's actually great. Really understanding the customer market. And yeah, I guess so. Does anyone have any like last minute questions that you guys want to ask about, like what's the next steps? For example, we're gonna have another venture consultant office hours. Yeah, maybe I should recap of like what the next few weeks is gonna be again. So next week, for example, if your venture consultants cannot make it to the regular Sunday meeting, right? Set up another time with your venture consultant and go over your plan and also what your progress is, right? And then after that, after next week, basically we're gonna have the mock demo day, right? So for the feedback that the venture consultants are gonna give to you guys today, or in the next few days, for this recording, right? It's gonna be more about your progress instead of like how you present it, how you pitched it, the idea, right? But the mid-August mock demo day, that one is actually gonna be exactly about like how you guys presented your idea and problem and all that information. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Yeah, anyone has any last minute question?
When would be the mock demo day, you say?
Okay, yeah. So mock demo day is in 2 weeks.
Yeah, okay.
That is gonna be around August 15th. Yeah, August 15th.
If I can't make it in person, would it be a problem if I do it online?
Oh yeah, August 15th, that mock demo is gonna be online. Yeah, so that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be on Zoom as well. Mm-hmm.
I will be traveling that day, so I don't think I'll be able to make it for the mock demo day.
Okay, you can record just like your pitch as well.
Yeah.
Also.
I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the point of it is just to help you guys with the presentation. So you will also get feedback afterwards as well. All right, anyone else? Mm-hmm. All right, I guess, yeah, that's good work, everyone. So I guess I'll send the information later on, follow up. And then, yeah, good luck with your preparation and your MVP. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.